Hello everybody and welcome to this video, and it's quite an unfortunate video I actually have to make today. It's addressing certain issues that have occurred within the very British Civil War community, sadly, where a young boy was investigated by the counter-terror police for purchasing a British Union of Fascist flag, um, and this has kind of caused a huge kind of rift in the community right now. And I thought, as a very British Civil War channel who plays as the BUF, I should kind of weigh in on the subject a little bit. Um, First of all, obviously, it's awful what happened to the person in question. They're on YouTube as well, actually. So I'm sure some of you know them. If not, they're watching themselves. It's awful what happened to them, and I wouldn't wish prevent agenda upon anyone. I think it's an awful institution, which is mainly a racist institution to systematically attack Muslim students. But of course, it's been used in terms of political extremism this time. Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But it obviously raises questions of fascism and wargaming. And I just want to get this out of the way at first. I don't think it's a bad thing to game fascism. You know, fucking hell, that's quite a strong statement there. But I mean, I played the British Union fascists in the game. Very much portrayed as the ultimate bad guys. They're the comical kind of enemy, the jumped up little Hitlers kind of situation. And they're always the butt of the joke. And obviously, I'm always rooting for the people's armies at the end of the day. Of course, you also have people that play the Nazis in bolt action. From the Wehrmacht to the SS, which I personally wouldn't play the SS. But of course, someone has to be the bad guys at the end of the day. And if you play them, power to you. I'm not gonna storm off the table at the sight of the SS, as long as you're not playing the Totenkopf units, which of course policed perpetrated the mass murder of the Jews and many other minorities during the Holocaust. So I have no problems with people gaming fascism as long as it's handled correctly. Where I see the problem coming from is when that fascism transfers into reality. For example, buying fascist paraphernalia, which can only be bought from fascist websites. Such as the modern incarnation of the BUF, the so-called successors to Mosley, the British Union, not the British Union of Fascists, because that's a dirty word, the British Union, which are a very much active fascist movement who trying to reclaim the legacy of Mosley and, of course, sell various merchandise bearing the flash in the pan, the Thunderbolt kind of icon, which is synonymous with the BUF. I think that is a massive faux pas. Purchasing fascist items in order to display them and giving that money, more importantly to me, that money going towards the fascist organisations to fund them, I think is incredibly dangerous, and it should not be done. And I think the worst example of fascism transferring from the gaming table into reality is also quite common within the very British Civil War community. One of my most popular videos, which I'm happy to say is quite popular, is my video, What is 1938, a very British Civil War, where I go over the background of the game, what led up to the game, the factions that you can play, and a lot of the comments that popped up on that are absolutely disgusting. There was one guy that said that Hitler was one of the greatest politicians of our time, and which is a disgusting comment. I don't even need to go into that at all. Various other people obviously praising the BUF, praising Oswald Mosley, and I just want to say right now, this channel is an anti-fascist channel. I am an anti-fascist activist. I'm not the kind of black bloc Antifa kind of guy. I much prefer the mass movements against fascism, such as the Battle of Cable Street, which is quite conveniently pictured in the background of the video, one of the greatest moments of working class history in this country. And this channel is explicitly anti-fascist, and I know I'm going to lose a lot of subscribers probably over that, get a lot of hate in the comments, a lot of dislikes, but quite frankly, I do not care. I think the political situation right now is so tense, with the rise of people like Tommy Robinson in the UK, people like the generation identity across Europe, which are actively advocating for fascist policies of and actively attacking migrants. Of course, you have the situation in America where you're seeing far-right groups leeching off the back of Trump, such as the Ku Klux Klan, but of course the alt-right, Generation Europa, all these kind of people, which started the Charlottesville March. We have, and I don't need to go over it. France, Marine Le Pen; Germany, the AfD; Hungary, Orban; Brazil, Bolsonaro. We are seeing a political situation which is very, very similar to that of the 1930s. We haven't quite got there yet, but we are seeing the polarization of society between fascism and the far left. I mean, quite thankfully for me, but we're seeing a destruction of centre grounds, and politics becoming much, much more dangerous nowadays, and it is leading to the deaths of people now. It led to political murders, be it Christchurch in New Zealand, or the shootings in America, in the mosques, in the synagogues, in the schools, in El Paso, everywhere. We are seeing fascism transfer from the history books to reality, and that is why I think that this kind of crisis in very British Civil War right now is extremely dangerous, I think. We need to be vigilant as the very British Civil War community against what is fascism, and how we should fight back against it. And from now on, this channel will not support anyone that completely will not support the kind of comments that I've received before of praising Mosley and that kind of thing. I'll still continue to game the BUF, I'll still continue to paint for them, but if I'm seeing comments that are openly supporting fascistic policies, that's a no-go. Instant deleted comment. I'm willing to accept all political beliefs, be a conservative or left-wing or a liberal or, any kind of ideology. But my stance is fascism is not to be debated, it is to be smashed. No pass around. And it's quite sad that I've had to get up to this point where I've had to put my foot down really against openly talk about politics on the channel. I never really thought I'd have to do that, but it's come to that, I'm afraid. So overall, as a conclusion towards this, and thank you for listening to this rant, I think right now we need to be vigilant against the rise of the far right, because if history is ultimately doomed to repeat itself, and I don't like where it's going right now, and I think we must be careful when it comes to wargaming fascism and making sure that fascism only stays on the gaming table and doesn't become a real movement where we're going to have to be fighting it in real life. I don't want very British Civil War to become a reality. I don't want a fascist government in power. I want that stuff to stay on the gaming table, and I can beat the crap out of it with dice, not with my own personal action, let's say that. But yeah, thank you for listening to this update, if you made it through to the end, and if you tolerated it even, and if you didn't tolerate it, to be honest, I think I'm quite glad to see the back of you, because you aren't quite welcome here if you think that fascism is an acceptable ideology. And with that, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.